Lord. I'm so fucking pissed. Did y'all hear about the 12-year-old boy in Texas that had came home from school to an empty apartment? His mom, Erica Renee Sanders, Sanders, and her boyfriend, Kevin Dwayne Adams, Kevin, Keven. These motherfuckers done moved out the apartment and ain't said nothing to her 12-year-old son, y'all. This is so fucked up on so many levels. Like, he got home, the apartment was empty. So the little boy went next door to the neighbors. He brought the neighbors back over to his place so they could see that the apartment was empty. So the police came and they talking to the little boy, and the little boy said, yeah, my mom and her boyfriend did mention that they would be moving. He just thought that he was going with them. So they get in touch with the mom and her boyfriend. They was like, oh yeah, his uncle coming to get him. That's what the mom said. But she wouldn't give the police the uncle number. Some kind of way they got the uncle number. They got a hold of the uncle. The uncle said this was his first time even hearing about this. He had no clue what his sister, Erica, was talking about. Then they talked to the boyfriend, Kevin Adams. On the phone, this motherfucker is literally telling the police, y'all, a long list of complaints that he have about a 12-year-old little boy. He's literally giving them a reason of, yeah, this why we left. We can't be doing this, taking care and yeah, this is what he's saying on the phone to the police. The neighbor even told the police when they talked to her, yeah, they have put him out before. She didn't understand it because the boy quiet, well-mannered and everything or whatever, so she didn't even understand it. Anyway, DCS talked to the mom. The mom wouldn't give them an address, but they caught up with their asses. They caught up with them. They got arrested Friday. They still was in jail as of this morning. But it's just sad or whatever, because for me, I just can't even relate to shit.
All right, man, we got a sad story of, 12-year-old boy. The lady is saying, I think she said it was in Texas. Came home with his parents. I'm assuming that was his mom. I know it was his mom, and I'm assuming the other guy was the stepfather, and they just left. Didn't say nothing, just left. The other lady, the next door neighbor, said, vouched for his character, said he was mild-mannered, and they was just tired of him and shit. Well, the other parent said that the neighbor said he was all right, a good, well-mannered kid. It was funny. I was talking to somebody about, they was telling me about their upbringing and stuff, and they were saying that they didn't find out until, they got put out like at 16. They didn't find out that the father, that the guy he thought was his father wasn't his father. And he said it made sense because they treated his other two brothers better than him. And they treated him like shit and kicked him out and stuff. And, hit the link in the description, join the Patreon. That's just terrible. Especially if you a parent, or you signed up to be a step parent, and the main parent is treating the kid like shit, and you basically, get in there and treat the kid like shit too. You a piece of shit of a human being. And the guy was telling me, his story was similar to kind of a little bit like this. Was telling me that, the guy that he, thought was his dad, his stepfather, would beat him all the time, but wouldn't beat his brothers and shit. And that's traumatic. It's traumatic. So imagine what this young kid was going through, where you just pick up and leave and just say, F it, figure it out. He comes home from school and y'all gone. What type of scumbag mother are you? What type of scumbag man are you for that to allow that to happen? Oh, we told him to do this. We know how y'all making this. This is a child. This is a child. It don't sound like he got no record of doing criminal stuff. And you don't want to be a parent no more, so you just want to kick the child to the curb. Like the selfishness of a lot of people, bro. When you had that child, you decide to have that child. You know what I'm saying? Then now the your world revolves around that child. And that's just what it is. And you don't want to be a parent and then you allow niggas to abuse, or other men or other people to abuse your child. And you know what a lot of that got to do with is because how that woman or that other parent feel about the other parent, whether it's a man or a woman feel about the dad. So they take that anger out on the child. And she said they still in jail, and rightfully so. They still should be in jail. That's sad. The trauma that kid is gonna carry. And there was a dude I talked about. I did a video on the brother. I had to find a video and put it back in there, or a clip where he said that his mother did the same similar situation. Kicked him and his brothers, left his, moved out, left his brothers and sisters in them to fend on their own when they was about 13, 14, 15, he said. And then his mama called him when he figured it out, and he asked and moved in with him. And he was like, no, you're my mother, I love you, but you put me out. You put me out. So no, now you need, and he said she didn't try to blab with him, she just hung up the phone and kept him moving. It's a lot of POSs out here, man. That's POS activity. Real talk. POS activity. I don't even know how you can look at yourself as a human being within that situation, bro. I don't know how you can look at yourself. And a lot of these people go around thinking that they're good people. That's one thing about people that do bad things. In their mind, they justify the bad things that they do and don't think what they doing is bad because you justify it. Doing that to your child is just wild. Didn't ask to be here. Treated them different based on whatever the situation may be, and y'all pick up and move. He come home to an empty house. Well, I told him. You told a 12-year-old child. And y'all just decide to move. They shouldn't even get out of jail. They shouldn't even get out of jail. It's like people that get dogs. And then when it's time to train the dog, they don't want to train the dog and say the dog is barking too much. He doing this. Y'all just want to sit the dog in the corner, send him in the cage. He tearing up shit. And then you just want to opt out the responsibility because you don't want to take time to do it. And this just boils down to people being lazy. We have a generation of lazy men and lazy women. Some of these, kids who ain't never had a home cooked meal, all these women gave them was McDonald's and noodles. And you wondering why these kids going around with all these diseases, ADHD, they can't read, can't write. The parents so busy of wanting to have fun, still want to party in club. I want to live my life. I deserve to travel. No, you deserve to raise your child. It's about your child. And we knew it wasn't about your child when you decided to have a child and not work with, or not be up under the leadership with the man that you had a child with. That's the first act of betrayal to the child. That's the first act of betrayal. When you sat there and you had a child and you didn't pick a proper mate for the child, or you didn't want to raise the child under the same roof with that man. That's the first act of betrayal. You let your kid down right then and there. Not some cases where, some things just happen and you didn't know he had another family, or you didn't know he was abused, whatever. It's very minor cases. We talking about the majority. The majority of these women, they think they could do it on their own. And then when they get hard to do it on their own, they want to say, I'm so tired of doing it on my own. I got no help. No, you want to be a victim because it was two parents. And then a lot of these women alienate the other parent. But this child didn't deserve that. He didn't ask to be here. And that's so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate to go there and your mother is like, nah, I want you. I'm gonna run off with this other man and I don't want you. we just gonna pick up and leave. And he probably left home. Everything was cool. Everything was there. And then he came home and everything was gone. It's the life that we live, bro. You know, I know God gives his strongest battles to his strongest warriors, but some children don't have a chance. And you never understand that until you really look at their story. Some people was crack babies. You know what I'm saying? Some people came from situations like where they didn't have a chance. They didn't even learn right from wrong. You know, they didn't have a chance. You know, it's just messed up. It's messed up. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the link in the description, join the Patreon. Peace.